Hello everyone and welcome to this Playwright Python series. In this particular tutorial, we will learn about CSS and XPath locators. In addition to that, we will also be looking into a SelectorsHub extension. So let's begin. In our previous tutorial, we learned that the first thing as automation tester we need to do is that we need to locate the elements, and we learned about the recommended built-in locators. Now, in some cases, these locators might not be sufficient. So you might be using the CSS or XPath. And here, just go to this locate by CSS or XPath, click on this one. And here you see that in order to use the XPath or CSS, you need to use page.locator and you need to provide the CSS or the XPath locator. Now, what we'll do is that we'll automate the login functionality of our HRM. And in this case, we'll only be using the CSS or the XPath. But before that, we need to know about a very good extension called as SelectorsHub. And this extension, you need to go and search for this one. And this is the official website. Just add it to your respective browsers. And once it will be installed on your browser, you will see this icon over here. And this icon, you need to click and you will see that we have this particular window. And also what you can do is that we need to locate the elements, and this particular extension will give us a CSS or the XPath. So this means that you don't need to go and write the CSS or XPath for the particular web element. Okay. So now I'll just go to the PyCharm over here. And in our previous tutorial, we use these built-in locators. Okay. I'll copy this complete code from here, and inside the test, let's create new file, and I'm naming it as test underscore login underscore CSS underscore XPath. Okay, and just paste it over here. And instead of using these built-in recommended locators, we will be using the CSS and XPath. And one thing you need to remember is that always go with these built-in locators on the first priority. In case if these are not sufficient, then in that case you should go with the CSS or the XPath. Okay, now you see that is page dot this one. So basically we need to remove this part from here. It says page dot locator, and now here we need to provide the CSS locator or the XPath locator. The idea here is that we need to uniquely identify the element. So either by the built-in locators or using the CSS or the XPath. Okay. Now just go back to the Chrome over here and go to this ORHM website. The first thing we need to do is that we need to identify this username, then password, and then login. And we need to provide the username field with the admin, password field with the admin123, which are the demo credentials for this one. And then we need to click on the login. So first, let's identify the CSS locators and do the execution. So simply right click on this one, click on inspect, and go to the SelectorsHub. And here you see that we have this relative CSS selector and the XPath. So one means that is uniquely identified. So copy this one and go back here. And inside this one, we need to provide the CSS one. And here you see that we are getting some errors because in this particular CSS selector, we have a single quote already against this username. Okay. So this means that if you need to provide this one, you need to go with the double quotes over here. Okay. Now, again, let me show you. Just provide the double quotes. And inside this, you need to provide the locator. Similarly, we need to go with the password field over here and here locator, and we need to provide the locator. And for this first tutorial, we'll only be using the CSS, and then in the next one, we will be using the XPath. Okay, so go back again and inspect this password field, and this is a CSS selector. Copy this one, go back, and you need to provide this one over here. And now similarly for the button, so simply page dot locator, and here we need to provide the locator for this one, and simply double quotes, and inside that we need to provide the CSS selector again. So go back and inspect this login button and click on this one and go back, provide this one, and let me remove these lines from here. So simply it will go to this Orange Channel website and provide the username, which is admin, provide the password, which is admin123, and then click on the login button. Now let's run this one. So simply what we need to say, pytest space test underscore login underscore CSS underscore XPath dot py, and we need to execute in the headed mode. Okay. The one thing you need to ensure is that you should be in the specific directory. So I'm already, you see that I'm in the test folder. So that's why I'm directly providing the name of the test. Okay. So simply press enter. So it will pick up the test and it should identify the username field, provide username, password, and click on the login. So you see that the test got passed successfully. This means that our Playwright script was able to locate the username password field and the button field using this CSS locator. Now what I will do is that I will change these locator to the XPath. Okay. And again go back here and identify these fields, username. At this time, I'm copying this XPath. So this is a relative XPath. So copy this one. Go back here and change this one over here. Similarly, update the other locators for the password field and the button. Go back here and identify the password. Relative XPath for the password field. Copy this one. And go back over here and provide this one. And now again for the login button, go here, scroll down, inspect the login button, and this is the relative XPath for this particular login button. Okay, copy this one and paste it over here. And now once you're done, execute this again. So this should be executed successfully because we have identified the one. So we are getting some error over here, and here we are getting some exceptions. So scroll up and see what was the issue. So basically the issue is with this particular page dot locator, and here if we scroll down a bit and let's see what it says. So basically we are getting the error in order to parse syntax error. So basically it's a syntax error, locator dot fill, and we failed to execute this one on the password field. Is not a valid XPath locator. So this is the error. So let's go again and just identify this password field again. And this is the one. So copy this one and go back here and provide this XPath over here. Okay, save this one and let's run this one again. And should identify the password field this time. And again, we are now getting some error in terms of the button. Okay, so it says that the center is document, and again, this is the problem with the expression. So we need to ensure that the expression is correct. So go back and inspect this login and copy this one and just go here. Ensure that there's no space over there. Paste it over here and save this one and run this again. So if the locator is not correct, so either it's a built-in one or the XPath one, so it will fail your test just like it failed for right now for the password and for the login button. So the whole purpose of this tutorial is that when you're automating on things, the first thing is to locate the elements, right? And the preference is always be given to the built-in locators. If those are not working, if those are not sufficient, in that case, you should go with the CSS or the XPath. And instead of, writing the CSS or XPath by yourself, it's better to utilize the SelectorsHub extension and use those. In case, which is rare, but in case the XPath is not not working, which is being provided by the Selectors, that in that case you should be writing your XPath or the CSS just to ensure that the element on the page should be identified uniquely. Okay.